Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at another video to help you to get to single figure golf. We're going to prioritise really the thought of getting from 85, shooting around 85, 86, how do we get you to 79? How do we get you breaking that 80? And we're going to look at three things. It's what I call the ABC. And it's really through the videos that I've previously done, the feedback that I've got from people, is how many people have been shooting around that mid to high 80s and are now saying they're breaking 80. And we haven't changed their technique, we've just changed their level of expectation, understanding of what you actually need to achieve. I think that's really important. When we talk about that normally, everybody thinks it's all about physical technique. My videos are showing you what you need to achieve, how you achieve it, and we know that with other top golfers, they all have very individual swings. Find your way to make that score. So we're going to look at this ABC idea. Three key areas, I think, if you get them right, you will start breaking 80. So let's start with A. And A is simply off the tee accuracy. And how far do we need to hit it? And people are shocked when they hear the data for how far they actually need to hit it off the tee to play to a certain level. As soon as you say single figure golf, they think, I've got to boom that ball down there 260, 270. If you can hit 80% of your fairways and the other 20% you've still got a shot, so you're very accurate off the tee, we need to be hitting that ball 210 yards. Yes, 210. 210 will do what you need it to do. If we can do that, then you're winning. But if you're hitting the fairway, you can now give yourself that opportunity to get that ball on, say this hole, for example, down there on a par 5, so you can reach in 3, and on pretty much all par 4s, you've got a good opportunity to get up near the green or on the green in 2. So that's what we're looking to do. So let's hit a tee shot down here. We're going to play a shot down here and we're going to look for that 210. Okay, that's what we're looking for. If we can achieve that, we're doing what we're setting out to do. Okay, so it's all about accuracy. And what I look for when I'm hitting my driver, let's just turn this way. I have this sort of mental picture of what I call the right angle position. And what I imagine, if you can imagine a line going straight towards my target, I imagine the shaft of the club is coming at right angles at that position. And that's my mental picture. I think if I can get the club back to that position when I strike the ball and the face is square, I'm going to hit the fairway. As simple as that. That's my thought. If I'm coming over the top, I'm making a swing this way and I'm coming across it, look where the shaft is pointing, that golf ball's got to start way left. Okay, and then I've got to compensate with the club face. And if I'm coming too much this way, the shaft is now pointing way right. Again, I've got to compensate with the club face. If you're doing it subtly, you may be able to hit a draw or a fade and end up back in play and you're accurate, and that's fine. But that's all I have as a mental picture. So I create my setup, ball position just inside my left heel. I imagine that shaft angle there at the start, and I just think get it back to that position, generate enough club head speed, 210's good. There we go, we're down the fairway, quite happy with that. We'll wander down, have a look at it. Have I got it down there around that 210, 220? If I have, there's our first part. There's A done, I'm accurately in the fairway. So here's where we ended up. Let's take a reading back to the tee. It's a little bit bright on this sunny morning, but let's take a reading back to the tee. We're looking for 210, and what have we got? Well, that's nice, 212. So pretty much bang on what we said we wanted to achieve. We're smack in the middle of the fairway. So if you do that regularly, straight away on this par 5, I've got nothing to concern myself. I've achieved what I want to achieve. We're going to continue with A with accuracy, but we're going to continue now with the second shot. And it's that second shot on a par 5. Again, keep the ball moving forwards on that line. Okay, once we've played this shot, then we'll come to B. But accuracy, and I'm going to keep that same right angle idea, okay? And I'm just going to look to put this down the fairway. What am I looking for? Go to the data. We're looking for around about 170, 175. If I do that, I can play single figure golf. That's all we're looking to achieve. So, little bit downhill lie, weight on my left side. I'm looking nice smooth swing, right angle back at the ball, get that shaft at right angles to where I want to go. We're down the middle of the fairway. Job done. And that's given me the opportunity to do B. But let's go and explain what B is. So A was accuracy. B is build on your greens in regulation. And we said about the stat on the tee there that we only need to hit 210 yards. I think when we talk about getting to single figure golf, people automatically think they've got to be hitting way, way more greens in regulation. And it all depends a little bit on B, as I said, build on your greens in regulation, and then how good you are at C, which we'll come to in a minute. It determines how many you've got to get. But the starting point is, if you can hit 4 greens in regulation on average, you can start to break 80. All right, you're accurate off the tee, you're hitting at least 4 greens, but we want to build on it. So to guarantee, I would say, that you are going to start consistently breaking 80, we need to get that number from about 4 to 7. That's all we need, 7 greens in regulation. If you're hitting 4 to 7 greens in regulation, you now have an opportunity to be a single figure golfer. That's the key thing to understand. So we're playing this par 5, it's just over 500 yards. We've hit that tee shot of around about 210. We've advanced this down about 170, 180. We've got 115 left into the green. So what would be a good shot? Well, a green in regulation is when you're playing a par 5 and you hit the green in 3 shots. That's a green in regulation. You 2-putt it, you've made your par. If you're playing a par 4, you hit it in 2, 2-putt it. There we go again. There's another par. Par 3, hit it in 1. There's another par if you 2-putt it. Ultimately, we'd like to get some of those greens in regulation close enough that you could, in fact, make some birdies. But I want you to take the pressure off yourself. Don't think a 9 handicap golfer, or as we're saying, breaking 80, you might be closer to 7 or 8 handicap, that you've got to be hitting 8, 9, 10 greens in regulation. Okay? A tour player shooting par or better doesn't hit 18 greens in regulation every time he plays. That's really important. So we're just going to build on this idea. So next time you go and play, work out how many greens in regulation you're hitting. If you're hitting at least 4, you can be a single figure golfer, because then we can build on it and go from there. So up to 7. So what would be a good shot from here? Amazingly, 115 yards. If I can get this within 50 feet, that's a par shot. I'm doing what I got to do. But anywhere on that putting surface is good. A little bit up the right side. Ball's a bit of a hanging lie. Ball above my feet. So I just want to aim a little bit right. And as long as it comes back towards the middle of the green, job done. I'm on the green somewhere. I know that. Done my job. Got my green in regulation. 4 to 7. If we can get you close to 7 greens in regulation, you're doing exactly what you need to do. And then the final part, C, is going to really help you to get the scores where you want them. So I've come up onto the green. As I said, we're building on those greens in regulation. And why I'm going to show you this, we've hit a much nicer shot than normal. But again, I took the pressure off myself. I just thought 50 feet's good. We've ended up 1, 2, 3, 4 paces, which is closer to 10 feet. Okay, so that's given me now probably about a 20% chance I can now make a birdie, okay, as a single figure golfer. So that's really important, okay? But hopefully it's a pressure-free par. And if we're looking to break that 80, yeah, we're looking to have as many of them as we can. We want tap-in pars. If you nick a birdie, again, if we're looking, let's say it is a par 72, which is sort of generally where most courses are, 7 over par. On one hole here, if I can nick a birdie, all of a sudden I've got 8 shots to play with over 17 holes. Okay? So again, you're just gaining that advantage. But if I 2-putt it, that's still okay. That's still giving me a chance. So we're going to putt it out, and then we're going to come to C. Okay, so going to have a little bit of break left to right. A little bit of a winter green here, so just be nice and positive in your mindset of what you're doing. Commit to it. See if we can nick a shot. As long as we get a par, we're doing what we got to do. Yeah, and again, just caught a little bit on the wet grass. But you can see, playing that hole, we've made a very, very simple par. And if we can start making around about 10 of them around, we're going to start shooting closer to that 80 number, which is what we're after. But let's look at C, and this is really, really important. And I think if you watch the top players, the tour players, this is what they're very good at to keep their score ticking along. So here's part C, and we're looking at chip and putt. And it's about those shots around the green. You've got to have a decent short game if you want to be breaking 80. And it's a little bit like, as I said, when you watch the tour player, there's always this element of scrambling. even when you watch the great players, even if you watch at the moment, who's world number one, Scottish Shuffler, he's probably on average getting 13, 14 greens in regulation when he goes out and plays. Yet, he's still averaging, probably through the whole season, 2 under par. So that means he's getting approximately 6 of these shots up and down every round. Now, we don't need to be that good. We're not looking to earn millions. But we still need to, if we think about it, let's say we do get up to 7 greens in regulation. That's 11 holes still left that we still need to make some pars. Okay, so we're looking for that 7, 8 over par. We've made 7 pars already, so we're 11 over if we don't make any more pars. So we need to get around about 1/3 of these shots up and down. So what would be a good shot? And I want you to think of this. And we've created a shot here that's a little bit trickier. We've got the overhanging tree. We've got a little bit uphill green. We've only uphill slope. And then we've only probably got about 15 feet of green to play with. So make the practice tougher. I think that's really important. People tend to go to the practice ground, give themselves a perfect lie, chip onto the green. Yeah, I can do it. And then you end up here. And the imagination isn't there. Okay? Learn to play with different clubs. Again, if you're looking to be at this level, and as I said, if you're shooting 85 already, you can hit a golf ball, okay? The importance is, yeah, how do I get that ball up and down? So practice shots with your 9-iron, your wedge, your gap wedge, even if you've got a lob wedge, practice them. Because you're going to get such a variety of shots, okay? And as I said, doesn't matter what level you play to, you're going to be in this situation. So we've just missed the green, as I said, we're around about 15 paces off the green. And then we've got about 6 or 7 paces of green to work with. So what would be a good shot? Well, I'm not going to sort of say just for this particular shot, this is what you need to do. But the goal is, the more opportunity you can get that chip shot around about 6 to 7 feet, you're going to hole about 1/3 of them. Okay, that's really important. If you can get it under 5 feet, you're going to start holing more than half. So that's quite important to understand. Don't suddenly think, I should be sticking this thing 2 feet from the hole. And again, you're putting pressure on yourself. Anything inside 10 feet gives you a chance. And then obviously go to the putting green. That's important. Go to the putting green, play the shot. So we're looking at a shot, as I said, just going up the bank. I don't want to go high because that brings in the tree. Okay. The second thing then, the lie, again, it's a sort of wintry sort of lie. I want to make sure the ball gets moving forward. So sometimes these clubs with bounce on them don't tend to work so well in the winter. So I'm going to go to my 9-iron. I'm just going to think, yeah, 9-iron, simple shot. Okay. In this situation where I haven't got the opportunity to do it, I need to land the ball short. So there's a little bit of the unknown there. And if you've watched my other videos, we always have this idea of land the ball on the green if you can. But in this situation, I can't, because if I go high, I could hit the tree, and the lie isn't great. So there's 2 things there saying to me, look, the safer shot, take an 8, an iron, something like that, and play it up there. Goal, think of it like a flagstick length. If you can start getting your short game shots inside a flagstick length, you're doing great. Now, 9-iron shot, let's just go through a little bit of technique. First thing I do, I grip a little bit down the club to get control, but then the second thing I do with that intention is my postures there, is I feel the lie of the land, I grip down, and I'm into that position. Second thing, which I think is so important, narrow the stance. I see people standing like this playing the shot. We're only looking to hit this ball not even 20 yards. And people look like they're going to hit a full 9-iron. Reduce it. Get control. We want control of the ball to get it inside that flagstick length. That's the goal. Chip and a putt. That's what we're after. There, narrow little stance. We're looking to put this ball just short of the green. Let it run up onto the green. Yeah, what's the result? Well, that one's ended up about a putter's length, so 3 foot. So really good opportunity now that I can make that putt. But let's go on to the putting green itself. Let's have a look at that and give you some drills to work on to help you to get those scores down. We want to break that 80. So here's where we ended up, and really good result. We're inside a putter's length, and that's the first distance. I want you to go to the putting green and practice a lot. Practice your putter length putts, okay? And then we're going to work away from that. So there's nothing more frustrating. You've played a hole, say it's a par 4, you've just missed the green, you've hit a great chip, as I've done there, to 2.5 feet, and then you miss it. Now, the golden rule, if there's another video out there, but we're going to go through in this video, you don't have to go and watch it because we're going to tell you it. Once you get inside 2.5 feet, once you get inside that putter's length, keep your ball inside the hole. Don't aim outside the hole. okay, because it's not going to break that much. That's the key thing. Be nice and positive with the stroke and get that ball rolling into the hole nicely from that distance, okay? So that's your golden rule when you're inside a putter's length. Now, the next distance what you do is double it, okay? Go back to around about 6 feet, okay? And this is the number we said. This is the one, that sort of flag stick length, that what we're looking for, so I'm just checking nobody's coming down the hole, is basically we're looking at now, I know this sounds crazy, but I'd like you to think you're going to hole a third of these. And this is the importance. When you go to the putting green, I only want you to take 3 balls onto the putting green. 1, because that's the goal we're after. We're going to hole 1 in 3. So at least you know how well you're doing, and that's an easy thing to do. If you're holding 2, if you're holding 3, brilliant. The other thing I tend to see with a lot of golfers, they'll go out with literally a bucket of balls on the putting green, and what they do then, they get in the way. So the chances are, if you're hitting 3 balls, yeah, you might leave 1 short and it might be in the way. You can move that out of the way very easily, but if you keep doing it putt after putt, it gets a bit frustrating. Plus also, it's not a natural position to be over in this position. You'll probably walk away with a bit of backache. So 3 balls is enough. So first drill, practice a putter length or less. Now from here, 2 putters length, okay? Remember, this is our goal. So we're working on that idea. Practice your chipping to get it inside this sort of roughly flagstick length, and then start to putt from here. And again, as I said, 1 in 3, you're doing what you got to do. Get the ball rolling into the hole. You're achieving what you want to do. So there's our video, what I call the ABC to how you're going to get from 85 to 79. A, accuracy. Be accurate off the tee, 210. Second shot down a par 5, be accurate, 170, 175. You're achieving that, you will play single figure golf. Okay, that's the key thing to understand. B, build on those greens in regulation. Start at 4. If you're doing 4, you can do it. We want to get that up to 7. I'm not going to stop you at 7. You get 8, 9, 10. Hopefully you're going to start shooting mid-70s. But realize, yeah, you do not have to hit every green in regulation. It's the worst stat that's out there for the amateur golfer. And as we said, the tour player's not getting 100%. And when you look at stats, you want to achieve high percentages, and it's probably the one stat that's very difficult to do. You can hit every fairway. You can start to do that. That's not that hard to do if you have a day where you are hitting it. But to hit every green in regulation, you've got to be a tremendous player. And then chip and putt. Practice different chips. We gave you a little bit of a tricky one there with a 9-iron coming up over the slope. Practice standard ones where you think it's just a bog standard chip shot, nothing in my way. Practice over bunkers. Give yourself different shots. Your goal, when you've just missed that green, let's say within 20 yards of the green, get it inside a flagstick length. That's your achievement. If you can do that, and you can hold a third of them, you're doing that. You're doing brilliantly. And the last putt was that putting. Go and practice those putter length ones. Don't give away the hole. What we mean is aim inside the hole. Even though there's a little bit of break, favour left side of the hole. Don't get outside. If you think there's an inch of break, aim an inch from the centre, not an inch outside, because that's got to break 3 inches now to go into the centre. Then double it. Flagstick length, 6 feet. That's our number. You've practiced your chipping to get there. Now finish it off. And if you're holding a third, you're doing brilliantly. That's what we're after. So that's our video showing you the ideas. And as I said right at the very start of the video, it's the area I've seen the biggest improvement in my YouTube watchers, because they've come back to me and said, look, I've been shooting 85 for years. I just shot 77 because I kept it simple. I lowered my expectation. I understood what I needed to do, and I'm now doing it, and I haven't changed my golf swing. That's such an important thing. If you have enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends. Show them what we're doing. There's over 200 videos there now for you to look at. Please enjoy them, and I look forward to seeing you soon.